This is the African News, a broadcast from Canada. My name is Sandra Asante. Top stories. Intense fighting in Amhara as Ethiopia's war rages. UN humanitarian chief visits Ethiopia amid crisis. Amnesty reveals civilians' misery in Cameroon crisis. Details of these stories after the break. Stay tuned. I'll be back. You're welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for staying with me to a very first story. Intense fighting has been reported in Ethiopia's Amhara region. The latest sign that the war in Tigray is spreading to neighboring regions. Officials in Amhara said federal soldiers as well as Amhara regional troops had been involved in the fighting against forces of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF. It comes as regions continue to mobilize forces to fight against the TPLF. Despite this, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's spokesperson said a unilateral ceasefire declared last month had not been suspended. Both the government and the TPLF have accused each other of escalating the conflict. In a separate development, the authorities in the western Banishangwa Gomez region said security forces have killed more than 100 fighters from an armed group that has been behind numerous ethnic-based attacks. This comes in the aftermath of deadly violence in the eastern part of the country, in which a large number of civilians were killed in areas bordering Afar and Somali region. Still on Ethiopian crisis, and the UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths is visiting Ethiopia and concerns of a worsening humanitarian crisis as fighting in the northern Tigray region escalate. During the 6-day trip, he is expected to meet government officials and travel to the Tigray region to hear from civilians affected by the war. Ahead of the visit, Mr. Griffith said that the humanitarian needs in the country has increased this year as a result of the armed conditions conflict in Tigray and other regions. The UN World Food Programme has said its supplies are running out of the trucks can't get into the northern region because of the fighting. There are also been ethnic tensions and clashes across the country, which has increased the need for humanitarian assistance. The UN humanitarian chief visit comes as Eritrean refugees hold protest demanding the safety of those living in camps in Tigray. The UN says more than 20,000 Eritrean refugees are facing intimidation and harassment by forces loyal to the TPLF in the region. The fighting in Tigray began in November between the regional power, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, and the federal government. The government declared a unilateral ceasefire in the region last month, but fighting has continued between the TPLF and the Amhara regional militias, and other regions have been mobilizing to join the fight. We move to Cameroon now, and civilians have burned the brunt of unlawful killings, kidnappings, and the widespread destruction of houses during the 4-year separatist conflict in Cameroon, Amnesty International says. The rights groups collected witnesses account and analyzed satellite images to study the impact of the violence. In a series of attacks in February this year, more than 4,000 people were forced from their homes in Inwa in the northwest region. They were targeted by Fulani vigilantes who are accused of siding with the Cameroonian government forces. Amnesty also found evidence of the reprisals throughout the conflict by the English-speaking separatists against Imbororo Fulani community, which had left than 160 civilians dead. The report concluded that all parties to the conflict has committed human rights violations and abuses, while civilians had been caught in the middle. Thank you so much for watching today's African News. My name is Sandra Asante. Do you have a beautiful day? I'll see you some other time.